Okay. Okay.
If you guys, I mean, I could point you to books, but I don't like to give you advice that I wouldn't follow myself. I don't read much. I sleep a lot. So, and books help me sleep. So if you're really into reading, that's fine, but most people are not into reading anymore. They watch videos, especially young people, right? So we want to have as much interactive learning available as possible. If you guys think that what I have to offer is beneficial, then I humbly suggest 2 efforts that I've made that I think can really help you start your studies in the Quran. The first effort is a course I taught called Divine Speech. That's the first course, okay? It's about 16 hours long. So you can do it over the course of a month, little by little, or maybe even 2 months. There's only one point. Every course should have a point. So let me tell you what the point of that course is. What's the name of the course? Divine Speech. The only purpose of that course is to appreciate the Book of Allah. That's the only purpose. Why should I learn this book? What's so great about this book? It's only answering that one question: why is this book so amazing? That's it. That's it. And it's there to answer some common confusions that Muslims have and non-Muslims have when they study Quran. For example, subjects change in the Quran very quickly. How come? There's a lot of repetition in the Quran. How come? The stories are repeated, a little bit over here, a little bit over there, a little bit over there. How come not put all of them together in one place? Why is it so spread out? How come the Quran is not in the order that it was revealed? So all these questions are logical questions. The problem is you don't get a chance to ask those and get logical answers. Divine Speech is there to help answer those questions, get rid of those criticisms, and actually turn them into something beautiful. That's the first step to me. Appreciation comes before learning. Divine Speech is actually about appreciation. Then we can start learning. Okay? The next step I would suggest is a course I put together called Quran for Young Adults. Even though I said young adults, if you are young at heart, it's okay. Okay? So it's called Quran for Young Adults, and the purpose of that course is to give you an overview of some of the core concepts in the Quran. Some of the fundamental concepts in the Quran. How does Allah talk about belief? How does He talk about belief? How does He talk about good deeds? I spoke with some of you, I remember, outside yesterday. We like to complicate things. Muslims love complication. Quran loves to simplify things. So we love discussing complex issues in Aqidah over 8 volumes. And Ibrahim alayhi salam keeps things very simple. You see what I'm saying? There's no complications with Ibrahim alayhi salam. And he, by the way, he would not be able to take the Aqidah test you would give him. Because it's simple for him, it's straightforward. And we are the religion of him. Millat abikum Ibrahim. We have to learn to keep things simple. And how do we learn that? Through Quran. It addresses all the major philosophical challenges. It addresses all the questions and confusions, but it does them in a way that the prophets did them. We have our own curriculum. I say we replace our curriculum with Allah's curriculum. First, you can do the second curricula if you want. You want to go do a PhD in Aqidah? Fine, do it. But do it as step 2. Step 1, just learn the Iman of Ibrahim alayhi salam. Just learn the Iman taught through Fatiha. This is Allah's curriculum on your belief. This is Allah introducing Himself to humanity. Why is this not enough? Why do you think this is not enough? No, I studied Fatiha, but I really want to refine my Aqidah. What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Then people say, Akhi, if you don't study the complexities of Aqidah with a shaykh, then you're not going to have the right Aqidah. Let me ask you something. Let me ask you 2 questions. When you guys know Rasulullah was reciting Quran and some jinn passed by. وَإِذْ صَرَفْنَا إِلَيْكَ نَفَرًا مِنَ الْجِنِّ يَسْتَمِعُونَ الْقُرْآنِ. Did these jinns have a ijazah in tajweed or a degree in sharia, or what did they have? Nothing. And did they study many years with Rasulullah? No. They were just passing by and they heard what? They heard Quran. And then they were so amazed that they gave a speech.
And their speech was so beautiful that Allah put it where? In the Quran. These are unqualified students of Iman that only heard the Quran for a few seconds, and Allah values their words so much that we learn them. And then we write complicated tafseers of them. That's the funny part. You have Ashab al-Kahf. Which day of the week we recite Surah Al-Kahf? Every Friday. Every Friday. Sunnah. Ashab al-Kahf, do they have the correct Iman? Do they have the correct Aqidah? Are these people heroes of Islam or no? Absolutely. Who's going to have, if Allah is proud of them, how can we say they don't have the right belief? These are standards for us. Especially in a time of fitna, we should remember them. That's the point. These people don't say a single prophet's name. These people don't make reference to a single book. They don't give dalil from a single ayah. They don't have any ijazat. They are not ulama. They are not fuqaha. They are not mufassirin. They are nothing. They don't even have a prophet among them. Nothing. All they say is, I don't think we should worship idols. I think we should only worship one God. Simple. And they became heroes to Allah, so He would put them in the Quran. Somebody gets mentioned in a book, it's a big honor. Somebody gets mentioned in the Quran, and it is simple for them. We love complication. Allah teaches simplicity. That's why I'm saying if you bring it back to the book of Allah, things become easy, man. It just become easy. Now, have you read this book? And then have you read the sharh of that book? Then have you read the sharh of the sharh of the sharh of that book with the hashiyah? If you want to do that PhD in studies, in Islamic studies, go ahead. But that's not for the people. For the people is the book of Allah. For everybody else is the book of Allah. Ulama should go in depth. That's fine. But nothing else. That's what we mean when we say kalimatullahi al-ulya. That's what it means. It takes the first place. You begin with that. You know, فَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا. Listen to these words. فَبِذَلِكَ فَلْيَفْرَحُوا. Because of the Quran, because of that, they should be happy. Let me tell you, when you learn your deen, and you don't start with the book of Allah, you will end up learning something that will make you angry, and people around you will be angry when you're around them. You'll learn some angry version of Islam. When you begin with the book of Allah, it brings you joy, and it brings people around you joy. It makes you happy, it makes people around you happy. وَخَيْرٌ مِمَّا يَجْمَعُونَ. It's better than everything they're gathering. So it should be at the fundament. So I mentioned 2 courses. I've done a video explanation, a brief explanation for the entire Quran called Cover to Cover. That's available also, but that would be a step 3. These two should keep you busy for at least a year. And then after that, I'm not too worried. Inshallah ta'ala.
First one you said divine speech. What was the next one?
Second one is Quran for young adults. Quran for young adults. That's actually, it answers questions like, why should I believe? Why should I be Muslim? What does Islam say about other religions? What's going to happen to good people who die? Like, what's going to happen to Mother Teresa? You know, people have these questions. And I don't know, well, easy, they're going to burn in hell. No, wait, hold on. Let's talk about this. Let's discuss this. Let's see how Allah deals with this question. So let's we have to bring nuance back, in-depth studies back of the book of Allah. By the way, if you're curious, before you ask that question, I'll just tell you myself. If you're curious where I get my stuff from, like my sources, like how do I study Quran, I give a lecture, it's on YouTube, called Ustad Nouman's Study Methodology. My study methodology. I'll briefly mention now, my group and I, we go through about 26 tafseer per ayah. And we extract notes from them. And then we combine, we eliminate the redundancies, and we put the notes together, and then we review them, and then we have a research, a scholar among us, who if there's an athar from a sahabi, like if it's Qawl ibn Abbas radiallahu ta'ala anhuma, or there's a hadith or sabab al-nuzul or something, I go to him and say, is this sahih? Is there ikhtilaf on this qawl? Or is this, muttafaq alayh or something? He'll do his research, he'll get back to me, tell me this is actually not muttafaq alayh, or this is sahih, etc., etc. And then I put this, but I don't talk like that when I give a lecture, because that will kill you. That happens in the background.
The lecture, the durus, the talks, they're supposed to be easy. But just because the talk is easy doesn't mean the studies are supposed to be easy. The studies are supposed to be hard. And those of you that are learning Quran, please remember that. Learn the complicated stuff. But when you teach, keep it what? Keep it simple, keep it easy. That's really important. That's really, really important. So, brother's turn. Any questions? Yes, sir. Alaikum salam.
Give the mic.
From the translation of Quran, what we read is that the word he is used for Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala.
Very good question, yeah. Yeah.
Whereas he is I think if you use he or she, okay?
Then you're confining him to gender.
Exactly, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is pure of gender.
Sure, very good, very good.
Why we have used this question?
Excellent.
Question number 1.
Wait, let me answer question number 1, because then I'll forget.
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So in English you have he, and you have she, and you have what? No, we don't have. You don't have we. You have he and she and it. Yeah? He, she, or it. He is for a male. She is for a female. What is it for? Non-living things, inanimate objects. Yeah? Okay. The Arabic language has 2 pronouns. It has huwa and it has hiya. That's the 2 pronouns. Now, English works a certain way. Arabic works a different way. The problem that you asked is actually based on the fact that you asked an English language question. He, which is a problem of the limits of translation. Let's talk about the Arabic language. Linguistically speaking, in the Arabic language, the pronoun huwa, or the masculine pronoun, now let me tell you before I go on, there is a difference between male and masculine. I'll repeat myself. There's a difference between male and masculine. In Arabic, kitab is masculine. Kitab is huwa kitab. It's masculine, but it's not a male. Male is about biology. You understand? Masculine is a grammatical concept. It's not a biological concept. Okay? So once again, masculine is a grammatical concept, but male is a biological concept. Now, in the Arabic language, huwa is masculine and hiya is what? Feminine. And it can be used grammatically masculine, but it can also be used biologically for male. Huwa rajul, huwa ibni. You could use it for a male. Hiya can be used for grammatically feminine, which has nothing to do with biology. Hiya shams. Hiya shams. It is the sun. It's an it, but they use the word hiya because to them the sun is feminine. Okay? It's feminine. Muannath sama'i. Right? So now, if that much is clear, we can make our point. What's the point? Are you from the technology industry by any chance?
Yeah.
Okay, so you understand the concept of default? Yes, right? The default position in Arabic linguistics is masculine. So when something is neutral, then they use the masculine. And if something is gender specific, then they will transition out of the masculine and use the feminine. Now, huwa is used for Allah in the Quran. First of all, huwa is not being used as male, huwa is being used as what? Masculine, which means the masculine is not biological, it is grammatical. Why is it being used? Because that is the default position of the Arabic language. Very good.
But some of his wives, they didn't have a child. But
Yes.
the relationship was a healthy one.
Very good.
So why do we call it like azwaj?
Great
Why
question.
do we attach this thing? And why not imra'a?
Okay, really good question. Before I answer the question, I'll give you a disclaimer. And the disclaimer is the lecture you heard is about 12 years old. I look the same. I learned a little more since the last 12 years. So this is the updated version of that question, okay? Let's begin with language. The word zawj is used not only for man and woman, it's actually used for anything that complements anything else. The sun and the moon are zawjain. The day and the night are zawjain.
Okay? The male and the female are zawjain. Anything that completely complements anything else is called a zawj. Okay? So that's the first thing. So zawj is a comprehensive term which can include marriage, but is not limited to marriage. But it certainly does refer to something that is in complete complementary relationship to something else. Okay? Now, the use of the word zawj in the Quran certainly does indicate, like a Sha'rabi rahimahullah among other scholars. This, by the way, this idea that I presented was presented by several ulama of the past, and the more recent explanation that's made simple is by Shaykh al-Sha'rawi rahimahullah in his tafseer, which is recorded now and documented. Khyr. And the idea was that zawj is something, like you mentioned, wholesome, complementary. The husband and wife get along and for good reason. They get along and they do good together, and they have kids in the marriage. And the example given was actually of Zakariya alayhi salam, right? وَوَهَبْنَا لَهُ يَحْيَى وَأَصْلَحْنَا لَهُ زَوْجَهُ, right? So before he was called imra'ati aqiran, before the child imra'a was used, after the child zawj was used. Now, let's go further. There is something called divine intervention. Divine intervention. In the case of Adam alayhi salam, he was in Jannah, yes? How long do you live in Jannah? What's your lifespan in Jannah? Forever. You know, the only way your species can survive on the earth, the only way your name can survive on the earth, the only way your genes can survive on the earth is by having what? Children. But Jannah is a place where you survive. So the necessity, any species on the earth cannot survive without what? Children. But in Jannah, the need for having children is not there. It's not there. So a marriage is already complete without children. You understand? So it's understandable that in Jannah, Allah Azza wa Jalla says, Ya Adam uskun anta wa zawjuka. It makes sense because it's already complete. It's in Jannah. In other words, when I say generally speaking, children and complementary, this is what makes a marriage whole in general cases. But there are exceptions. And those exceptions are actually noteworthy. It is the general rule that brings beauty to the exceptions. Now, what are the exceptions? You mentioned one of them. One of them is the Ummahatul Mu'mineen, right? Who didn't have children. And them not having children, especially not having boys, was actually an intervention made by Allah Himself. مَا كَانَ مُحَمَّدٌ أَبَا أَحَدٍ مِّن رِجَالِكُمْ. Number one. Number two, the Rasul ﷺ is the messenger and we cannot question him ever. And his wives are what to us? What are they to us? So they have children. Yes? Allah calls them our, so the relationship is whole. Got it? All right. Yes?
You have written questions?
Written questions, yeah, written questions. But written questions are so boring. Oh man, these are epic questions.
Assalamu Alaikum.
Yeah, thanks. Pakistan.
You said huwa is default, right?
That's correct, yeah.
So what about we? Like, we have sent in the Quran. So that's correct.
You guys have great questions. You know the answers in this course I call Divine Speech, but I'll tell you anyway. Okay, that's why I really like that course, because all of these questions, I collected them and I made a course out of them. Okay, but let me give you something about that. Inshallah, this will take 7 or 8 minutes, but I think you'll appreciate it. Okay, why is we used for Allah in the Quran? That's the question. First of all, let's begin with history. The Torah, the Hebrew Bible, that is still somewhat preserved with all of its editings, uses we for God in the Quran. We're not the only one. And I'm not talking about the Christians, I'm talking about the Jews. Do Jews believe God has a son? No. They don't. No. Uzair ibn Allah is a very small fraction of Jews. The Arab fraction of Jews. The vast majority of Jews do not believe Uzair is the son of Allah. They do not. I talk to rabbis, I hang out with them. I debate Ibrahim alayhi salam with them. I know. Okay? Jewish scholarship, most of it does not acknowledge Uzair as the son of Allah at all. One fraction of it did, the fraction that lived in Arabia. Okay? But the Jewish tradition is much bigger than what was in Arabia. So Allah refers to some Jews who said that, not all Jews who said that. Khyr. So Christians specifically say God has a son, yes? But the Jews overwhelmingly say God does not have a son. But even they have what for God in their book? We. And I asked the Rabbi, why do you have we? And he said, well, of course, God is royal. He's the king. And kings speak with the plural. Actually, not only kings speak in the plural, even presidents today speak in the plural. Our president in the United States speaks in the plural. We in this administration have made blah, 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 blah. We won this election. We have made a... Here's one guy, man. You and all your shayateen or what? What's the we for? But we is used for what? We is used for the collective. Now, next thing. This is important now. In the Quran, you will find different kinds of pronouns used for Allah. And to understand this problem logically, first you have to understand what are the different kinds of pronouns. There is third person, second person, and first person. Third person means he and she and they. I'll make you remember this because I'm not talking to myself. What is third person? He and she and they. Second person is you. Second person is you. What's first person? I and we. What was third person again? He, she, and they. And the second person is you. And the first person is what? I and we. Now in the Arabic language, there are 6 kinds of you. Anta, antuma, antum, anti, antun. There's antuma is twice. So it's 6 kinds of you. You, both of you, all of you. You lady, both of you ladies, all you ladies. There's 6 yous. Okay, now, when in the third person, Allah uses he. Yes? In the second person, Allah uses anta, which is the singular you. Does Allah use they for Himself? They? No. Does Allah use all of you for Himself? No. He uses the singular third person, the singular second person. The only time He uses the plural is in which person? First person. And in first person you find ana and you find nahnu. Now, if this was actually plural, you should find it in the first person, you should also find it in the second person, and you should also find it in the third person. But do you? No, you only find it in the first person, which means it's not literally plural. If it was literally plural, it would be all 3 persons. That's our first step to the answer. You with me so far? Okay? Because otherwise you would have found hum and antum and nahnu. It's not the case. That's just not the case. Now, the second issue. Nahnu is used, let's talk about how Allah uses these persons. When Allah is being formal, policies, or Allah is distancing Himself from a group of people, you will find the word he, huwa, in the Quran. Why? Because the third person is the most distant pronoun. He's over there. He's over there. The he is used when there's a tab'id. Okay, in balagha, there's tab'id. When he distances himself, he uses he. Now we know where he's used. Where does he use anta? He uses anta when the slave of Allah talks to Allah. Anta maulana fansurna ala al-qawmi al-kafirin. Okay? Innaka anta tawwabur rahim. When the slave talks to Allah, he becomes close to Allah. So he doesn't say huwa, he says anta. He talks to Allah. So Allah gives us the opportunity to address Him using anta. Then what's left? Ana and nahnu. I and we. I and we. Let me start with I. Because the question is, he should have always used I. Let me tell you. There's a king. وَلِلَّهِ الْمَثَلُ الْأَعْلَى. I just want to get a point across. There's a king. Or there's a president. We have made certain policies. We have decided, and somebody starts talking during his speech. And he says, excuse me, I'm talking. He doesn't say, excuse me, we are talking. He says, excuse me. Even though the rest of his speech was what?
We. And when he got angry, he did what? I. Okay, same president's talking. We made these policies. We sanctioned this. We provided this. And his baby walks by. Hey, come here, I love you. Everything was we, but what happened? I gets used when there's extreme case of love or extreme case of? Study the Quran, look for I. You'll find extreme love or extreme anger. You'll find tawbah. Ana tawwabur rahim. Tawbah is an extreme act of Allah's love. You'll find فَإِنِّي أُعَذِّبُهُ عَذَابًا لَا أُعَذِّبُهُ أَحَدًا مِنَ الْعَالَمِينَ. I will torture him with a torture that I will never torture anybody ever with. What is that? That's anger. That's anger. Okay? Allah Azza wa Jal talks to Iblis. You refuse sajda? إِذْ أَمَرْنَاكَ أو إِذْ أَمَرْتُكَ. أَمَرْتُكَ. I commanded you. That shows the anger of Allah. Get it? So, actually, alhamdulillah, Allah does not use ana all the time. So we can know which places are extremely special. Like in Ramadan, your dua being answered, لم يقل سبحانه وتعالى نجيب دعوة الداعي قال أجيب دعوة الداعي إذا دعان فإني قريب لم يقل إننا قريب إني قريب أجيب دعوة الداعي إذا دعاني فليستجيبوا لنا لا فليستجيبوا لي وليؤمنوا بي لعلهم يشهدون. كل هذا في المتكلم والمفرد. All singular person, first person. All for love, because Ramadan is a special love from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Now, what's left? The question, the problem word, which is what? Nahnu. Nahnu is used when Allah speaks in the role of a king, in the role of majesty. And when a king, especially when a king passes big policies or when a king gives you a lot of gifts, then he demonstrates his royalty. So you will find more overwhelmingly, when Allah talks about revelation of Quran, which is a great gift to humanity, you'll find nahnu. Inna nahnu nazzalna dhikra wa inna lahu lahafidhun. Okay? Anzalna alayka, ma anzalna alayka al-kitaba litashqa. Okay? Anzala is used in cases where Allah demonstrates His majesty. But with Bani Israel, He was really angry because they should have accepted the Quran. So He says, وَآمِنُوا بِمَا أَنزَلْتُ مُصَدِّقًا لِمَا مَعَكُمْ. Believe in what I sent down. وَلَا تَكُونُوا أَوَّلَ كَافِرٍ بِهِ. Don't be the first to disbelieve. He wants I when He's extremely angry again. Nahnu for His majesty. Then nahnu for when He sends water. You'll find Allah will be talking about He created the tree, He did this, and we sent water from the sky. He'll switch over to we because water is a special majesty from Allah. Arshuhu kana arshuhu ala al-ma. So you see whenever water comes up, most of the time it switches over to we to demonstrate Allah's majesty. It's awesome. It's just so awesome. Here's the last part of this question. Actually the most important concept in the book of Allah is the oneness of Allah. لَيْسَ كَمِثْلِهِ شَيْءٍ لَا إِلَهَ إِلَّا هُوَ الْوَاحِدُ الْأَحَدُ الَّذِي لَمْ يَلِدْ وَلَمْ يُولَدْ. This is the concept of Islam. This is the concept of Islam. So then, how does Allah protect this concept even though the word nahnu is there? At the end of all of our explanation, nahnu is still plural, isn't it? Still plural. So how does He protect Tawheed after using nahnu? Study nahnu, we, for Allah in the entire Quran, you will find something. Right before or right after, He will make sure that you learn that He is just one. Every time. Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar. We gave you Kawthar. Who gave you Kawthar? We. The next ayah, pray to us? No. فَصَلِّ لِي رَبِّكَ. لم يقل فَصَلِّ لَنَا. Okay? So that you never forget that we is about one. So he switches immediately. Every time. Every time. إِنَّا أَنزَلْنَاهُ فِي لَيْلَةِ الْقَدْرِ. We sent it down in Laylatul Qadr, yes? تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ. Finish the ayah? تَنَزَّلُ الْمَلَائِكَةُ. بِإِذْنِنَا. بِإِذْنِ رَبِّ. Okay, now it's clear, it's just one Rabb. Get it? So this is an amazing phenomenon in the Quran, the transitions of pronouns in the Quran. It's a remarkable study. This is absolutely remarkable study. You have some really cool questions. I'll just take one more question. ये उर्दू का मैं सवाल है, मैं उर्दू का जवाब दे दूँ? किसे एतराज़ है? उर्दू में पूछ रहा हूँ किसे एतराज़ है? उसे क्या समझ आएगी? चलो खैर, किसी को एतराज़ नहीं है तो मैं उर्दू में। अच्छा, दाई का फ़र्ज़ मनसबी क्या है और ख़वातीन पे ये काम किस तरह बेहतर तौर पर बेहतर तौर पे अंजाम दे सकती हैं? इस सवाल में बहुत सारी मुश्किलें हैं। एक तो लफ्ज़ मनसबी आपने इस्तेमाल किया है, जो आपने पता नहीं कौन सी डिक्शनरी से निकाल के लिया है। मुझे इतनी हाई उर्दू नहीं आती। दाई का फ़र्ज़ क्या है मुझे इतना पता है। हाँ, इंग्लिश? ओके, फाइन। What is the role of a da'i and how can women fulfill that role? Basically, sorry, my Urdu ran out. So here's the thing about being a da'i. Our deen, our job is not to be a da'i. Our job is to be a Muslim. Ibrahim alayhi salam gave us this deen, the name of this deen, and he said, ربنا وجعلنا مسلمين لك ومن ذريتنا أمة أمة داعية قال أمة مسلمة. Our role is to be a Muslim. Never lose that title. This is the title that we are proud of. Everything else is a piece of this one tree. Everything else is the fruit of this one tree. Your job in life is not to be a da'i. Your job in life is to be a Muslim. Now, as a Muslim, you have lots of responsibilities. Some responsibilities you absolutely have to fulfill every single day. As a parent, I have responsibilities to my child. I have responsibilities to my parents. I have responsibilities to Allah for salah. I have responsibilities of earning. I have these responsibilities every day, and I have to fulfill them. And I have to try to do justice to all of them. For men, you have to give time to your wife, you have to give time to your children, you have to give time to your parents, you have to give time to Allah's house, the masjid, you have to give time to your job, you have to give time to your health, you have to give time to your learning, you have to give time to your friends. Oh my God, I ran out of time. You have to give time to your rest. Yes or no? You have to give time to relax. You need it. You need to chill out and just do nothing or do something stupid. You need time for that too. You need time for these things, and you need to balance all of those things. And by the way, in the middle of all of that, you should make time to represent the deen of Allah as best you can. Now, does that mean you have to go on the street and do da'wah? If you have time, it's a nice thing to do. But if you don't have time, you are not missing an obligation. You are not missing an obligation. Allah did not tell every single Muslim to go out and do da'wah. Allah Azza wa Jal made that the responsibility of an ummah. And by the way, when you find that balance between all of those things, man, that is the greatest da'wah you will ever do, because the world is out of balance. Nobody knows how to balance their life. People do good in their career and they destroy their family. People take care of their family, they destroy their business. People take care of their children, ruin their marriage. People take care of their parents, forget about their kids. People take care of their kids, forget about their parents. There's all these imbalances. Who is supposed to represent balance? This Muslim. And when you have balance, people will say, hey, where do you get this balance from? That's so nice. Well, it's from Islam. People will be attracted to this balance. Instead of giving people durus about balance, live it. Be it. People should want to be like you. And that's what that's the real obligation today. I'll tell you the extreme that's happening. I find it very disturbing. People want to study Quran, people want to study hadith, and they want to study it 8 hours a day. If you're studying that 8 hours a day, your husband or your wife is not getting time from you. Your children are not getting time from you. You're not doing proper exercise. You're probably not eating healthy either. You're not keeping connections with your relationships. Allah does not want you to study the Quran and forget about your life. This is not a service to Islam. This is imbalance. This is what the Quran came to correct. How can you sit there reading Quran and read قُلْ سِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ? What does سِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ mean? Go out in the land. And you're reading tafseer ibn Kathir, ماذا قال في سيروا في الأرض, Al-Qurtubi, سيروا في الأرض, قال فلان وفلان. How about ماذا قال الله? سيروا في الأرض. Go take a walk. Go outside. Allah is telling you, go travel. It'll increase your iman. It'll affect you. The book pushes you to go stop reading sometimes and go experience. The best tafseer of أَوَلَمْ يَرَوْا إِلَى الطَّيْرِ فَوْقَهُمْ صَافَّاتٍ وَيَقْبِضْنَا is not in a book. The best tafseer is where? In the sky. Go look. Go look. That's the tafseer of that ayah. So that is inshallah ta'ala. My voice is totally gone. I don't even know how I spoke today. I have a flight early in the morning. Technically, I'm already asleep. So I'm going to stop talking now, inshallah ta'ala, and we'll enjoy some more wonderful announcements. And I am going to... It's only 12 more pages. It's only 12 more pages. Relax, easy, so easy. But I'm going to keep these questions, go through them, and when I get a chance, I'll try to answer them in some of my next durus and khutbahs, inshallah ta'ala. Thank you so very much, everybody. It's been a great pleasure being in Kuwait. Jazakum Allahu khairan. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.